Ready. Okay, everybody, let us rise for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Daly?
Here.
Vice President Schwartz?
Here.
Trustee Clements? Here. Trustee Hammond? Here. Trustee Parr?
Here.
Okay, so I am operating tonight via old school paper documents, so we'll see how that goes for everybody. No, I'm good. Didn't have enough battery and it's charging, and then mid-charge it's decided to run an update. So it's like it's I don't know what it's doing. It's updating.
All right, if you need mine.
Thank you. Okay, so I just want to get us started. It's been a great, busy past couple of weeks. We've got a lot going on with our students, with our faculty, with our administration, and a lot more to happen in the next few weeks. So all good stuff. And thank you for everybody's continued focus amongst the end of the school year fever. So I'm going to turn it right over to Dr. Bauer so she can get us started.
Okay, so we have not too many things to report on, but probably the most important and certainly the most recent is our visitation today from our new high school principal, Mr. Peter Carucci. And we had two parent coffees, one at 9:30 this morning and one at 5:30 this afternoon. We had 3 different ice cream socials, one for the 10th and 11th graders during their lunch period, and one for 8th and 9th graders during 10th period. And we had a faculty meet and greet after that. So Peter got to meet an enormous number of people, and he's actually very good. One of the things you'll notice, he's good with names. And he almost memorizes them instantaneously. He has these patterns, so I watched what he was doing because he would have the students say the name twice, and then he would say it back, but then he would see them an hour later and he would call them by name, and I thought that's pretty impressive. So he was able to meet many members of our community, and I hope that they felt as positive about their meeting with him as he did with our community. So that went really well.
And he's probably exhausted.
Yes, he is.
I mean, that is a lot of work.
Yep. And and he learned a lot.
Yeah.
And parents were very forthright in sharing, just some of their thoughts and ideas. The kids, I have to tell you how impressed I am with our students who were able to walk up to him and shake his hand. They introduced themselves, what grade they were. There was always a presence, and there was a confidence, and they felt really good about meeting him, and vice versa. So I enjoyed the day, I think, as much as everybody else did. So that was very nice.
Ice cream was a big hit too.
Yes, it was. Yeah, we went through a lot of ice cream today, and I think our ladies who were scooping, especially the early one, they have some muscles today that they didn't have earlier on, so it was good.
And so, Dr. Bowers, would you
Yep.
say that if anybody couldn't attend today, any of the parents, but they still kind of want a chance to touch base with him, like over the summer,
Yeah,
would that be a
just
good time?
Please come. He will be more than happy to invite you in. Call his office. They'll put you on the calendar, and I'm sure he's going to have some additional meetings. But today was just the first blush.
Okay, good.
Good. So Tuesday evening, excuse me, for those people who are on the strategic planning committee, we are having a meeting Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock. And for anybody who helped us design the strategic plan, we're going to be sharing what we've done within our first year. And anybody else that has an interest, it's an open meeting. Please feel free to come. I imagine it will be, from maybe 6 to 7:30, and we'll go through all the different components of the strategic plan and what we were able to accomplish during the first year, and also kind of give you a forecast of where we're going for the second year. So please feel free to come. We have a Board of Education meeting on the 21st of June. It's again a Tuesday, and we're going to have recognition of retirees and also give a congratulations to our newly tenured teachers. We're going to have an update on the parking situation on campus and on the probably mountain and other areas that some of our some of the neighbors have been sharing some concerns. We'll give an update there. And Mr. Twardy will give an update on our solar system, our new solar panels, and how that's gone this year. And so please come to that if you have an interest. Our July Board of Education meeting, our reorg meeting, will happen on the 5th of July at 7 p.m. And we have our second Board of Education meeting for the summer will occur August 16th at 7 p.m. So please put those calendar dates on if you have an interest in coming.
Great, thank you. So our special presentation tonight is from Ms. Sniffen. She'll be discussing the Communities That Care drug prevention program. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Warming up. Before she pulls that up, just to kind of give a brief overview and kind of some thank yous. I'm here to represent a large group of people who have served on the committee, who go to the committee meetings. I do need to recognize a few people that have really kind of this go around have spearheaded and made sure that this has gotten off the ground. So I just want to mention them quickly. And Gina Van Nosdale, Maria Stein, Marison, Dave Cross, all community members. Gina's a parent. Maria works at the Manitou School, and Dave is just a concerned citizen. Kristen McConnell and Joe DeMarzo, Bruce Kelly from Putnam Family Services. Lisa Cicluna, Danielle Pack-McCarthy, John Peters, and Allison Jacoby. I kind of need to mention those people who have really been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that this happens. So I'm just kind of representing the school district, along with Dr. Bowers, Ms. Hackett, and Brian Ulm regularly at these meetings. So it's the last one, Ms. Horn? PCTC? Yeah. No. Those are Deb Contini's files that I just hold on to, just in case I need to have them. So the Putnam County oversees the Communities That Care coalitions within our county. That includes Carmel, Brewster, Mayapack, Haldane, and Putt Valley all have Communities That Care coalitions. Ours is Phillipstown, so it of course includes Haldane and Garrison, both schools. The mission of the Putnam County, or Phillipstown Communities That Care, is a community-based coalition. Its mission is to prevent and reduce substance abuse within our children, youth, and community. This will be established by fostering a safe and healthy community through the creation of supportive structures around educational policies and programs. And every day, every time we're at the meetings, that's really what we are working towards, and it's become kind of the staple of the group. Just a little history. Leah, I'm on slide 3, if you could get with me, that would be awesome. A little history. Back in 2005, the federal government started to establish grants, and Putnam County was able to secure a grant at that time. And different communities needed to establish these coalitions and in order to help get some of that funding and some of the programming. The county did bring some of the programming over to Cold Spring, but we didn't have an established coalition. And we did try in 2005, and it is a very difficult group to get together. As the slides continue, you'll see coalitions are established by 12 different contingencies coming together to create shared vision. So you have legislative, you have schools, you have parents, you have rec departments, you have religious organizations, and you're really trying to get everybody together to work towards this one common goal. And unfortunately, with everything that I think everybody is well aware of in our nation as it relates to drug crisis, we've had tragic deaths in our community. And in 2014, the beginning of 2014, there was a group of people getting together to say, we've got to get together on this issue, and we've got to figure out what can we do to support our youth, to support our families that are whether in crisis or risk prevention and so many different things. So in 2014, there was a large group of people getting together to ensure that this happened and that we could get it off the ground. And so here's where we are now. You can kind of see that's really the history of it. Go ahead, Leah. I had mentioned we're one of 12 sectors. The school is just one piece of the puzzle here. Pleased to say, again, as I mentioned, it hasn't been easy to get us off the ground and running. There's been a lot of meetings and a lot of conversations. Those conversations sometimes are heated, but I think good work doesn't happen unless all the elephants are out in the room and everybody is honest and open. And I really think we're in a great place right now, thanks to the leadership of the people I mentioned. We have bylaws in place. We have structures in place. You'll see the second bullet here talks about membership. We're always looking to expand our membership with this work. And it's really quite broad in terms of what needs to be done to become a member and to help us out. So what the coalition is doing is we've gathered our data to be able to make informed decisions about what it is that we need to do and what our community needs. Every community needs something different, and you really want to make sure you're addressing the needs of your community based on the data you receive. So over the last 2 years, the following surveys have been done to gather data. We completed the grades 8 through 11. That survey is a nationally normed survey that Putnam County, part of the federal grants that the county receives, they pay for that grant for us to be part of. All of our students, there's an opt-out only, so every student is assumed to take it unless parents choose not to have their child take it. It's an anonymous survey. It's a pretty extensive survey with a large pool of questions to ensure validity. The name of the survey is the National Prevention Needs Assessment. There's a lot of information out there on that assessment. We've been doing that assessment for quite a few years, but not under a coalition. We've been just doing it as a school and using it to drive our prevention education. Now we're hoping that will help drive the community prevention and education. Also, just this past year, again, thanks to the help of Putnam Family Services, a young adult survey was done. And that targeted youth ages 18 to 25. Which we know tend to be hit hardest with the heroin epidemic. So that survey was conducted. We also did a parent survey, both at Garrison School and at Haldane, where we blasted out a survey to parents, kind of getting feedback, risk behavior. We asked age of children, different risk behaviors that people may assume or think their kids are participating in, or at the same time, they don't think their children are participating in, and to be able to analyze that data. We also then had a community leaders meeting where we brought in different stakeholders. We had, 35 to 50 community leaders to come together at North Highlands Fire Department, where we conducted another survey there to kind of get their feedback in terms of what they believe the needs are. So we then have all of that data that sits there. We then needed to be sure to establish our operating principles, our bylaws. In April, we were able to come together. We had a subcommittee to draft all of those. They've been accepted as of April of this year. At our last meeting, we just adopted our action plan that the subcommittee was able to come together after analyzing all of the data in terms of what our community needs and to present an action plan. So as of May, I'm pleased to say we now have an action plan in place. You all have a copy of the action plan. If any community members would like a copy of the action plan, they can contact anybody that's on the coalition, the people I mentioned at the beginning. And there's a lot of great work that's being done. We're currently looking for people to serve on this action plan. If you look at it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 different components of the action plan that we're really looking to target. They include the first being education, to provide parent education and increase community awareness, youth involvement, to establish a town-wide youth group, to reduce prescription access, to decrease access to prescription medication, provide resources and information to families in need. We're looking for help in public relations to establish an identity and continue that with the coalition, in addition to just our mission. We're looking for sustainability. We want to establish funds and continue to make sure we have volunteers to kind of help put this action plan in place. And legislative advocacy to raise awareness. We have some local officials who sit on our committee. Barbara Scuchamara is there, as well as Nancy Montgomery on a regular basis. So they're really helping in that area as well. Oh, you have it. Oh, there they are. Look at that. Next slide. You can kind of see them listed. And we're looking for help. Anybody that wants to help. Again, the school is one of the 12 different groups that come together to the table. And there's definitely work to be done. And hopefully this is a community-based initiative. It can be a model of a community-based initiative for us to learn from. I personally, knowing all 7 of the students who have passed, this is very near and dear to my heart. So we're going to make it happen.
Great, thank you. Lights, camera, action. Sorry. Any questions for Julia from the board, from the audience, about like where we're at with this, where it's going? I know it's been a tremendous amount of work, so thank you to everybody who's been involved. And also there's a lot of growing pains that happens with a new organization, and I know that we've been feeling them. So it sounds like things are starting to get a little smoother, which is awesome. And then when can we hear about the survey? Like what happens with all the data? Like where's the analysis? When does that happen?
We did at the beginning of last year, we did 2 presentations on the data that we had from 2014. I think if you remember, we did them at the library. The survey, the national survey, is only administered every 2 years. So we did administer the survey in fall of this year. So we should anticipate that data shortly to be able to, in the fall of next year, present the data and kind of look longitudinally at the data. We've been doing the survey now since, I want to say, 2005. So we have a lot of that longitudinal data that we've been able to look at and use with our clinical support services as it relates to prevention here on campus. And I think you can kind of see different trends, and you can analyze the programs that we have in place to see if those are working or not working. When we analyze the data, those of you who are in the room who analyzed it with us, there does seem to be a disconnect. And one of the major disconnects that we are seeing is students are saying different things they're participating in or doing, whether it's at a high school level or it's just out of high school. And parents necessarily not recognizing that maybe their children are participating in that behavior. So there was definitely a disconnect in that area. You know, if you had, throwing out numbers, 55% of students saying they're participating in something and only 10 or 15% of parents thinking their kids are participating. So it's that age-old kind of disconnect, between the adolescent and trying to, how can we work together to try to help some of that and have those open and honest conversations that are so difficult to have.
It also compares trends for Haldane versus trends for Putnam County as a whole, with all the other schools reporting as well.
And I'm assuming we're kind of in the mix. It's all the same.
Yeah,
story.
it really is. Some areas are lower here, some areas are slightly higher here. There's nothing drastic, it's disproportional to that of area schools or area communities. So I'm hoping fall, the 2015-16 data, you'll be able to see in the fall.
And then do we kind of lose them like after 18 or 17 or whatever, when they're out of here? Do we kind of lose the data? Because it's not like you're still serving young adults.
It's
or
definitely
are you?
harder to get that data.
Yeah.
We did a big push. Brian helped quite a bit with the Haldane Facebook alumni page. We put in local businesses, little business cards. Please fill out the survey. You'll be entered into a raffle for an iPad. You try to do what you can to get as much feedback from that population. It's definitely the hardest population to get information from is 18 to 25.
Which is so unfortunate, right? Because they're the ones that is
Yeah.
the target audience.
Yeah.
But we did pretty well.
We
getting,
did. We did.
From what I remember.
Considering, trying to get them, it was definitely difficult, but we definitely had over 100, which is anything over 30, right? Peggy, is significant or enough. But, you'd always want more.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things you mentioned, and I've heard about, I haven't been involved, is how difficult it was at the beginning, but it actually makes sense that it's difficult. It's a really difficult problem, and my understanding of what sets communities that care apart, and there's been a ton of research on it. I mean, and it's effective, that they've shown effects in a lot of different communities. What I think makes it effective is the fact that it is so multifaceted. You bring together all these different groups. I mean, so it's a hard problem. It's hard to bring a lot of people together, but it does sound really like people have worked really hard. And
there's a lot of emotions around it, like you said. I mean, we have parents who I have so much respect for who have lost their children to this that are at the table. It definitely is a powerful, place to be and to discuss it. And to work through it. But yeah, it wasn't easy, but nobody really gave up. Yeah. And right, hard work isn't easy. So that's why it's hard. But
it's really commendable. I mean, I don't recognize all the names that you mentioned at the beginning, but there's certainly some, and there's no doubt that people have been really hugely diligent. I mean, really given a lot of their time.
Yeah, it's a lot more than just the monthly meetings. It's one of those that there's been a lot of work by a lot of people who are passionate about it. And if we keep going back to the mission, right, we always keep saying that. Go read the mission again if you're starting to kind of go back to the mission because it's about the kids. And once we can all agree it's about the kids, we seem to be back on track again.
Did they make a decision on when the monthly meetings are going to be going forward?
As of right now, because Kristen McConnell and Doreen Lockwood, both from Putnam Family Services, since they are both attending right now, the meetings are on the fourth Wednesday of the month.
But it's still going to be in the middle of the afternoon?
No, we're going to start alternating.
Okay.
We're going to start doing kind of like the PTA, some evenings, some, 3:30. It did shift it was 3 o'clock. It did move to 3:30. Which has helped a little bit. And then we're going to start alternating. The summer, it may stay the same, but then start to stagger the meetings. Yeah,
Thank you.
that definitely came up.
Anything else for Julia besides a huge thank you?
Team
I know,
effort.
you're one of
It's not
many.
me.
I know, it's
There's
not
a
just
lot of
you.
people. Yeah. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move into the Smart Schools Bond Act funding. I'm going to turn it over to Ann or Dr. Bowers or Leah, somebody to.
Well, Leah will probably do the lion's share, but we'll chime in
Yeah, okay.
as we go through.
Thank you.
And also, she's going to ask questions about our website that will be launched on July 1st.
Okay, so are you ready? So to remind some people about what Smart School Bond Act is it's some state funding that we've got in order to revamp our technology on campus. Schools all over the state are using it for various things. They're using it for classroom technology. They're using it for things like new smart boards or interactive TVs, things like that, or kind of like what we're doing, planning on redoing the infrastructure. So the plan has been on the website for a couple weeks now. It'll be up there until, it needs to be on the website for about 30 days. So somewhere around June 24th is the 30th day. in the plan is basically the design of our infrastructure. We have 8 servers. Our plan is to purchase 4 what I call super servers to kind of narrow the servers down so that they can be more robust and a little bit easier to take care of. In the plan is purchasing 13 new switches. We have 11 switches currently. They're all about 8, 9 years old. So they're slow and they creep along really, really slow, and it aggravates everybody. So the servers we're replacing, the switches we're replacing. We are adding access points. We're doing 44 access points to the different classrooms. We still have a lot of classrooms that don't have access points for Wi-Fi. So those classrooms that are one-to-one Chromebooks are, they see a little bit of struggle when all the kids, you get 25 kids on at the same time, you can sometimes struggle. Although today we did a field test today, computer-based testing on the Chromebooks and the classrooms. We had, I think the largest class was 27 third graders, and it looked beautifully in a class that had its own access point, so it was great. So that's about it. It's basically redoing the whole infrastructure so that our computers run faster. We, realize that this money we want it to go far. We don't want it to just be for devices that are going to last 2 or 3 years. We know that laptops and Chromebooks, unfortunately, don't have that lifespan. 2, 3 years on a laptop is old. It's depressing. So we knew that infrastructure, servers and switches and access points, you're talking 10 years that they'll last. So we knew that that was probably the best way to get our money to stretch and really help the district. Plus, we're getting more devices, and we can't support these devices if we don't revamp our infrastructure. I mean, I don't know how many of you noticed how long it just took me to get PowerPoint started. Think about, a teacher trying to get, things moving and grooving, or even, secretarial staff who are trying to get into stuff. The system's slow, the network's slow. It needs to be revamped with some new equipment so that it's fast and easy to use. So very excited. I can't wait. I just met with EduTech. Fernando's our network engineer to discuss how we're going to launch all the new hardware and kind of watch all the dominoes get put out. I'm very excited. I can't wait to look back in like a year, ask the teachers maybe in a year. Hopefully teachers will be smiling and happy and be able to say that things are moving and grooving when they try to get on the computer. So that's about it. So I wanted to make sure this was the opportunity to ask some questions. It's been on the site, so
If I could just remind.
Yeah, absolutely.
With E-rate and.
What the difference was?
Sparks, no, just the phone system and upgrading that and the security. And
Yep, E-rate is federal funds, and it's federal funds in order to help us revamp some of our technology. So we're using E-rate to purchase, help us go to voice over IP. Those of you who are not familiar with that, it basically uses our computer lines for our phone lines and becomes a much more secure system. So an example is if the teacher has voice over IP handset in the classroom and we needed to call a lockdown or do some sort of mass communication with the teachers, that communication would come through the handset. Teacher would be able to pick it up and either hear automated or hear a live message, obviously, or live voice of Dr. Bowers, whoever it was, so that they could do whatever they needed to do. So it doesn't have to just come over the loudspeaker. As we do it right now, it's mainly loudspeaker or email. Also allows teachers to have voicemail, which would be wonderful, right? You can call and leave a message for a teacher and not have to go through the secretaries. And then obviously, safety-wise, teachers will all have phones in the classroom. So huge project for that. Voice over IP takes a lot of all new switches. That's probably why we're also focusing on the switches. You cannot have voice over IP without upgrading our switches. Our current switches wouldn't handle it. So we had to get all new switches and then all the handsets. About 200 handsets across the campus for the classrooms, for the secretaries, for all the peripheral rooms, things like that. And there's different levels of the handsets. You've got your simple handsets, and you've got, someone like Jesse up in the district office would have more of a robust handset so she can pass it around. So it's exciting. That the voice over IP will happen. We have to get kind of the backbone in place first, get all that first, and then we can start focusing on voice over IP. So.
Can you talk a little bit about timeline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited. So. The hope, right? As long as things go smoothly, because I understand it's technology, and who knows what's going to happen. But so far, the plan is that servers and switches, servers especially, will be installed first, and we're looking at July. I have to meet with office staff to make sure they're okay with the computers being down for about 5 hours. Julia's going to kill me probably. So somewhere around July, we're looking at early July is when we'll hopefully get the servers installed. It takes about, I didn't realize how long it takes. You know, this is how naive, right? I thought you'd get the equipment and you just sort of plug it in and configure it a little bit. It takes I've learned since, it takes 5 days to configure the servers because you've got to get all the data that's on the old servers passed onto the new servers, and then it has to be completely configured for our infrastructure, and the virus protection goes in there. It's all a whole huge process. So it takes about 5 days. Luckily, it's only internet, and computers will only be down for about 4 or 5 hours. You set it up parallel. One of the things I learned, you don't turn off the old infrastructure until the new infrastructure is up and running perfectly, which I think is a brilliant plan. So it really will only be down for a little bit. So servers and switches this summer. Voice over IP will start really looking at aggressively come August. I'd like to get it in place before the school year starts, but I'm not sure we'll be able to get all of that going. We have a lot going on. We're migrating to Google this summer, the end of June, which is going to take a couple days. To Gmail, sorry. All of our emails currently live in Microsoft Outlook, so we've got to migrate all of that. I learned that we have about 10 what did he say? 10 gigabytes of email data, all of the attachments and the emails and things like that. It was more than that. That doesn't sound like a lot, but he said it's going to take 2 weeks to migrate all of our email documents over to Gmail, which I thought was crazy.
And out of personal curiosity, when that's going on,
no one will know.
no one will know.
No, it's a brilliant plan.
But
yeah.
when it arrives and all of a sudden you say, okay, board members, here's your new Gmail address.
It's not new. It's the same. It's brilliant. This is a brilliant plan. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's not my
When
plan.
you say, okay, nothing's changed,
But
I
it's-
promise.
You won't know.
Our labels, our folders, everything's going to look the
Yes.
same.
Yes. So
Okay.
the plan, and it's not mine. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm not the network engineer. But what's exciting about this is, I think it's cool about this, is that we did pay for this. Our migration was $11 per user, and this company called Cloud Migrator migrates all of our folders and our emails and our documents over. So the plan is June 14th. And to the beginning of time, when was that, Julia? When was the beginning of time on our email? I was trying to think of that today. What was?
2001, I think we put the email.
So from June 14th of 2016 to the beginning of time of our email, our system behind the scenes will be migrating everything over to Gmail. No one will even know. Outlook might be a little slow. Might be a little slow moving around there, but not much. Then as we get closer, we migrate a next chunk. Maybe it's just a week's worth at that point. And then at some point, we will send, with prior warning, the only difference is all we're going to say to you is you're going to gmail.com to see all your emails and your folders. You're no longer going to Outlook. Outlook will be available on the desktop for the teachers, so they can still see some stuff in there, but they won't be able to send emails or receive emails in there. So it'll all happen, and there are other schools that have done this, so it's not just us. It's happened over and over and over again. So I've talked to other IT directors. I'm nervous too, don't get me wrong. I'm like, ooh. But we're not, instead of just doing the free version and letting Google do it, we decided to go with Cloud Migrator, which is a little bit, spending a little bit of money, but I think it's the right way to do it.
Sounds good.
We'll have to reconfigure our iPads. It's not really
Yes.
that simple because we're on Exchange now.
Yeah,
so
you'll
now
just
we
need the
have to go to
Gmail icon, the little app, and I can help with all of that. I'll be obviously around all summer, so I'll be able to help. It'll be fun. No more spam issues. It'll be so freeing. We can actually get an email.
Right? We won't get caught in
No.
You
Nope.
don't have to check your
No.
little
No.
little email summary every
No.
day for everything that got in the filter.
Gmail does have its little, if you don't, it does have, but it's much different and it's very appropriate. Like when you go into there, it's stuff that belongs in there. It's not just any, like state ed emailing you.
You won't let everybody keep emails as long as they want. You don't archive. You don't archive.
No, there's
anything.
actually a law. We have to keep them. There's a state law that we have to keep all of our emails archived. So even when we go to Gmail, Outlook will sort of stay archived. The appliance on campus will stay here indefinitely, so that we can always kind of tap into that. Moving forward, once we go Gmail, our archiving will occur in the Google Cloud called Google Vault, and that's an indefinite amount of space.
Because emails can be, our emails can be foiled,
Right. No,
Whenever.
that makes sense.
So exciting stuff. So in terms of the website, at this point, I've sent it out to the teachers. The board has seen it. And now we're focused on graphics. I sat down, I don't know if you're familiar with Megan Shields, in the high school secretary. She's definitely, I would call her like a graphic design artist because she's got the eye. So we spent a couple hours the other day kind of discussing what we want to see in terms of visual, more grids, less white. You know, we both don't like a lot of the white and try to fill it up. So our plan is after school's out, when we both calm down and everybody can breathe a little bit, we're going to spend a couple days working together to really ramp up the visual aspects of the site. I'm still continuing to add the documents and the email links and things like that, but she's going to help me really jazz it up and make it neater. We decided it needs more grid lines to kind of give your eyes a place to look. So that'll be our job. And then
said the board. Did you see it? Because I didn't see it.
I think you just sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
okay, I can resend it.
If you can, just
Yeah, I can.
eyes or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all is I need as much advice as I can get. Absolutely, and it's always helpful. People, different people pick up different things that stand out, so it's very helpful. I sat down with Julia Farmularo for a while. Jen's ideas. We kind of, had a good list of some things to look at. So the more eyes, the better.
And when it's launched, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, there'll be changes. So once it goes live July 1, again, no one will know. Behind the scenes, you won't even know. You're still pointing to the same address. But that's my focus this summer with all this stuff happening in the infrastructure. I'm going to be focusing on the website to really jazz it up and get it where it needs to be.
That was one of the reasons we did headshots today. I had suggested that it would be nice for like each board member to have like a short bio, like 3 sentences of just like who you are and what you do and how to reach you, type of thing.
I like that.
So that's why we did this.
And so we don't look like we're in prison. In the yearbook. They do look like mugshots. Well, mine does.
No, yeah.
Any questions?
Questions from the public? Does anybody have anything they'd like to ask our technology powers that be? Yes, Aaron. Come to the microphone.
Should I announce myself to the microphone?
Please.
Hi, Aaron Wolf. I'm the technology part of this sounds exciting. When the announcement came out a couple of weeks ago, I looked it up, and then I went to the state announcement for the grant, and I saw that there were 4 different things that you can use the money for. So obviously, what we're using it for, we're giving some to Manitou School for the same thing. Security was another, and there was also pre-K. So that got me wondering if, I know we don't have a pre-K program, and the grant was for space for pre-K, but that got me wondering if we know what the pre-K needs are in the district, and if they're, how far off are we from 100% pre-K? I don't even know if the daycare that we send our kids to is technically a real pre-K or not. So I'm curious if that was if there was any investigation done into that as to whether that would be a good use for some of that grant money.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the state education department, when you get your state aid run, it tells you how much money you're eligible for pre-K. And then you have a long process to actually apply for the funding. And then provided that your pre-K program matches the requirements, you can start accessing that money. We have not yet been given any funding for pre-K based on who we are and our wealth ratio. So that's a problem because there's not continual funding that comes from the state for the pre-K. Have you ever been eligible for any money in the past? No. So having been in a district where the money became available, having gone through the process where we applied and had a pre-K program, when that happens, then it usually remains continuous. The problem with using this type of money for a pre-K program is it's a one-shot deal. And so if you use some of it for pre-K, once it's over, it's about $250,000 that we're getting. And so if we earmark some of it, we would only be able to do it for a year, and then that money goes away. So that's one of the problems. I think that if money were to be available through the state education department, there's also very specific guidelines you have. There's a certain amount that goes for each student. You have to have lotteries, even though your program is developed, and it's a lottery system, and so you can have some students that truly don't have the ability to attend a pre-K program because their parents can't afford it. They may not necessarily get the program because anybody who's pulled out of the hat gets it. So there's a lot of complications with that as well. And the pre-K program for public schools is very specific, and there are guidelines that we have to live by for pre-K. So I don't know if I just answered your question.
No. So my question was, how do we know what the pre-K needs are for our school district? I mean, not the financial needs, but do we know how many students are not able to access pre-K?
No, that we have not done a demographic study. That's something we can do if the board has an interest in doing that. And it's something we know that we have a certain population that can access free and reduced lunch, and that's probably the most needy or specific group that we would hope to target. And then there are other groups that we have, but we have not done a demographic study.
Might be interesting to look at.
Julie, did you? I felt like you wanted to comment on that.
I was just going to say we haven't done a demographic study. The only thing I would say is we did that. If you remember last year, the little work that I was able to do with the pre-K stuff, it's a pretty standard number of students who aren't attending pre-K. We haven't done a formal study, but it ranges between 5 and 10 students entering kindergarten on any given year that aren't in. So they're coming in without pre-K services, some by choice, some by financial, not being able to afford.
Okay.
And that's actually, would you say that that's then similar to the amount of, we have about 10%, is that right, about free and reduced lunch? And if you think we have, say, typically we have about 60 kids in kindergarten,
About the same.
5 to 10.
I was a kindergarten teacher too for many years here, and I think you would say, right, in every
Yeah,
classroom
I
you
would
had
say.
between 2 and 4 kids who weren't
Yeah, maybe.
in
At best-
preschool.
At best, 4 kids.
So maybe we're working around like a 10%-ish
We're around
number.
10%, I would say.
Okay. An unrelated question, will the maintenance costs for the new computer equipment be about the same as the current equipment?
In other words, the upkeep, the
Yeah.
standard upkeep of the equipment?
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, if anything, interestingly enough, it'll need less babysitting because things will be more automated. We get, more emails or messages if the environment in the server room has changed, if there's a virus or something on the server, so
Okay.
it would be less.
Great. Thank you.
And I would think we'd probably have less troubleshooting and all that. I mean, initially, maybe not, but
Yeah, I think
with newer systems, we shouldn't have as many.
Yeah,
problems.
I think a lot of the stuff will be behind the scenes with the new system that people won't even really see is going on in terms of maintaining the infrastructure. I think the 1 day a week, right now I'm predicting it's going to be okay. It's going to stay okay. Because it'll be a lot less fires that we're putting out. We did a lot of firework, this summer, this year, fixing things or chasing the train, as things were breaking down and trying to tape them back together. So it'll be a lot less of that.
My memory, and I don't know, I think it must have been before I was on the board, but I remember this being discussed at what to apply for the smart schools, the smart schools. I remember talking about that, and I remember the board really it's Peter Henderson's voice that I actually really remember of really advocating that we invest in exactly this kind of infrastructure that has because it's this one-time shot, that could really have some lasting impact. Am I remembering that right? There were conversations around it. Yeah.
And then it's our job, my job, I should say, to work on the replacement, to set it up so that there's a replacement schedule. So it's not, here we are 10 years later, we need the same, revamping. The plan would be to follow, there's protocols out there where you would have the plan set up so that switches get replaced on a regular basis, servers, so that it maintains itself and we can sustain it. That's the whole point, is that we, can sustain it.
I just wanted to add that all Also, what you were remembering were the conversations about being responsible to the taxpayer, not the taxpayer to Haldane, but to New York State taxpayer, because the Smart Schools money is a bond. And the discussion was that if we're going to pay for this bond over, if the taxpayers are going to pay for the bond over 15 years, we don't want to buy a device that's going to be obsolete in 5 years. We want to match the length of time that it's going to pay, that it's going to take to pay off this bond with items that we purchase that will also last that long. You know, we don't want to pay for something that we discarded 10 years ago. So.
How many Chromebooks do we have out there now?
We have 120 right now.
We have 120 right now. And how many iPads do we have out there right now?
That's a tougher number. We have 1-to-1 grades 10 through 12, so 70, 140.
10, 11, and 12 all have them.
200. Then we have, so let's say 200 1-to-1 in the high school. Then we've got 2 separate carts, that's 50. Another 2 carts down here, so we probably almost have 400 iPads, I would say, something like that, between carts. Which, you know, the iPads have been wonderful, great to, you know, to supplement the classrooms for iMovie and things like that.
But we probably will be buying more Chromebooks now than iPads.
Yeah, Chromebooks are going like hotcakes. The teachers, for sure. You know, I got them into actually they're here. They can kind of speak on it if they want to. They probably don't.
I saw some head nodding.
We got them into the teachers' hands, grades 4, 5, and 6, so that they could. It wasn't quite 1-to-1. I know they want 1-to-1. We're working on it, but at least accessible for the teachers to be able to grab 10 or 15 at a time, or 25 if they needed a class set.
So are the ones you said we just had, how many what was the number?
120 Chromebooks we bought this year.
We bought this year. So the ones that we had before that, are
We
they?
never had Chromebooks before,
They were just iPads.
or
Oh,
laptops.
I thought I just saw a bill for Chromebooks in the financial thing, no? That's from the earlier the year.
Yes.
Or that's the new ones coming.
The new ones come, and so we'll have a continual cycle. And now we're starting to shift over from iPads to Chromebooks. So you'll see less for iPad. You will still see iPads because we use them for different things.
Right.
But you're going to see a mix.
But that new bill is for new ones? Or that's the bill for the old ones for earlier this year? For this year? Life expectancy is?
So Chromebooks are 5 years is pushing it. My husband's school, for instance, they're on their 5th year of their Chromebooks, and they're limping along. So I don't want to go 5 years. I don't want anybody to be frustrated by their devices. So in my head, comfortably 3-4 years is the plan. That I have it all designed, like we pull a chunk, the oldest chunk come out, you add a new chunk, and you kind of build them in so that no teacher is working with a device that's over 4 years at the most.
So the capabilities, though, on the Chromebooks are much different than the iPads. And I would assume different grade levels have different needs.
Yes.
So has that been planned for?
Yes. Yeah, they're because there's a couple things. Number one, we went Google, and I don't know if you remember what that means. We are using Google Classroom, we're using Google Docs. It's really fun to share documents on campus now, right? It's exciting. And so Chromebooks really lend themselves to using Google Docs and things like that, the whole Google, extensions. So the younger kids, we got the 3rd graders using Google this year, and they're in Google Classroom, they're using Google Docs, they typed up some of their shorter essays in there. So the Chromebooks are mainly, correct me if I'm wrong, lady, because I know you're using them in the classroom all year, but they're mainly the word processing, the research, the word processing. Internet, Google Slides, which is PowerPoint. You could do web design on the Chromebook, things like that. It does have a video camera and a microphone, so you could use a Chromebook if the teachers got into like Skyping other classrooms and things like that. But it's nothing will beat an iPad in terms of iMovie and capturing video and editing video. Nothing will. iPad, the camera itself is awesome, and the kids can carry it around. You can't carry a Chromebook like you can carry an iPad. So they'll never, in my mind, nobody will replace each other. You need both.
We may have had, I remember you and Simon talked about this, but it might have been before you joined the board. Because it was just to remind ourselves, it was actually I really appreciated the pedagogical sort of foundation of the conversation, really recognizing that the iPad had certain affordances that made it really good for some kinds of activities, and the Chromebook had other kinds of affordances, and this recognition that we would continue to use both.
Yeah, the iPad's got great apps, K3. I think that's the other piece that I didn't mention. There's some great visual, fun, learning activities that kids can do K3 on the iPad. So we haven't really seen K2 get on the Chromebooks yet. But it's definitely, I could see we'd start doing that.
But who knows what's going to happen? But I think the idea of bringing them into the early grades is important because keyboarding is more and more important. And
Yeah.
there was actually a study, I think they even compared NAEP scores of fourth graders that took the ELA test with and without. And there's a effect of the technology. So all these kinds of things that we have to be paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw that today with the computer-based testing for the third graders. It was interesting. Some of the kids didn't have some of those soft skills that they need to navigate the mouse. Some of the kids were right in there. They've been on them, and we did that obviously intentionally. We got the third grade started with the Chromebooks in September, so that when they sat down for that field test, it wasn't the first time. But definitely gave us some ideas of some of the things we want to focus on in the maybe second grade with some of those skills with the Chromebook. So.
Can I make a couple more comments?
Please.
So, I read recently that Chrome. I read recently that Google is going to turn their operating system to be more like Android. So it's going to end up looking more like the iPad anyway, and we'll have all the games and stuff on it. The other thing is, as somebody who works in software development, the class I use from high school every day is touch typing. So I hope the kids can will learn that too.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we're in a good place. Thank you, Leah, for your time and your effort and your layman's explanation for all of us.
Although I have to go learn, I don't have any idea what a switch is. I'm just going to trust
Come and visit.
Come and visit.
Come to my office. You can open a door and you can see and hear one.
Okay. Any communication from the public? Further communication?
I have.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Nancy Montgomery, mom of 3 kids. One graduated, 2 still here, one due to graduate very soon, and one to move up from 8th grade, and that's why I'm here. I just wanted to say at this exciting time of year, thank you. They say it takes a village to raise your kids, and I really believe all that Haldane has given to my family has gotten us here. It gets to this time of year when we have these wonderful things happen and these events that are so memorable that I think about, what's missing. But what I really think about is what I have here in this Haldane community. And, I wanted to say goodbye to Mr. Alm and thank you, and to all those that were here before that got my kids through. These are kids that, maybe were struggling in 10th grade, and because of the teachers you've hired and the attention you've given to my kids, they're going off to college. And I'm really, really excited about that. And I just wanted to come at this last month of this school year and say thank you, and thanks to the whole Haldane community.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay. Consent agenda minutes. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Any discussion? We're looking at the minutes of our annual district meeting held on May 17th, 2016. All those in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda financial. Can I have a motion, please?
You're taking 1 through 6.
Yeah, I thought we needed to do that in discussion. Sorry. I didn't forget. I was getting there. Okay, so what we're talking about doing is tabling items 1 through 6, not because we received them late, not because there's anything wrong with them, simply because the board was really busy and not everybody got to read them. So, and we are really just looking at items 7 through 13. Is that enough explanation, Julia?
I think you need to make a motion to table items 1 through 6.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to table items 1 through 6, please.
Thank you. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. So then we can move forward with consent agenda financials, items 7 through 13. Okay, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
So we're looking at items 7 through 13. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Consent agenda personnel. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? There's a lot of appointments here. Dr. Bowers, is there anything you want to mention or point out? Any
Well,
questions?
I think we have a teacher that's moving out of the classroom again and going on a teacher and special assignment. Sarah Grom is going to be our learner profile, a halftime learner profile coach, and she's going to be moving into a special ed position. So she's taking basically a year's leave of absence from her 5th grade, and she's coming in to those positions. And we do have our new 5th grade teacher here, so we welcome her. And so I think that that's probably the one that is of most interest at this point. Yeah.
So, and my memory could be completely failing me on this, and if it is, I apologize. And I also apologize for not asking this question earlier. Am I at the right place? Yes. So number 6 and number 7, which are the coach appointments, it seems like we typically see like a resume or something like that for them, and I didn't notice until I got here that they weren't there. And I don't want to throw a huge wrench into it, but
we have them. We can. I know that it's.
Linda emailed it.
oh, is that what you did?
It was like a
Okay.
last minute
Okay.
separate email.
Okay, and it's okay. Well,
Would you prefer to take?
No,
Okay.
no. I actually.
They're legit.
I believe that. I believe that. I'm not questioning anything, but I hadn't
No, I
seen
agree.
it,
It
I
just-
am,
it
and
was
I
in a
am the.
separate email. It's not here, but it was in a separate
Okay,
email.
I can actually look at that. I had no problem. That's fine.
Okay.
And they are fingerprinted and cleared.
Yes.
Thank you. I was one that asked
Yeah.
that questions.
Okay.
One was an existing, just moving to a different team, and the other ones.
Or moving from assistant, Stephen Schweikart, moving from assistant to the full, right? Yeah.
Well,
Or, doesn't matter.
from girls
Yeah.
to boys.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Don't be sorry, Peggy. That's what we're here for. Unfinished business. This is just confirmation of our retreat dates that I believe we are firm on. Oh, yay.
We're good?
No?
The August one is fine. I
Tuesday
made a
one, not so
mistake.
much.
So the second Tuesdays of the month are the one month that are the Tuesdays that I have given to work. And there's a really good chance I'm gonna have to be out of town on the 12th. It's
What
like, it's,
about
I'm
if it was
so
the,
sorry.
because we just picked that
This is
Tuesday
the
because we didn't have a
September
meeting that
13th.
night.
It's
Yeah.
the September, I literally like for work said, okay, we're gonna do the third
yeah,
Tuesday of, or the second Tuesday, and I didn't have it on my calendar when I said I would do this, so.
So we were just picking that date, I think, because we have our meeting, our first meeting on the 6th. So, and then we have our second meeting on the 20th.
Could we do it on the 4th Tuesday? Oh, but I think the 4th Tuesday might be one of the Jewish holidays, maybe?
The 27th? I'm fine making that shift if everyone else is. Any objections? Just another Tuesday night to be together.
Are you sure, Evan? I thought we had this
No.
No, it wasn't, yeah, we didn't go
No.
that deep into the
Not that forward.
Tuesdays. Yeah.
So the 27th?
Is that good for you?
It is.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. That was easy.
And we were starting at 5:30, so Margaret doesn't have to. Yeah.
5:30.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any communication from the public? Okay, moving into new business, the CSE, CPSE recommendations. Ms. Julia?
The recommended action is that the Board of Education approves the recommendations by the Committee on Special Education and Preschool Special Education as submitted below.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. The bus purchasing bond. Julia, do you want to read that?
Yes, please. The recommended action is that the Board of Education approves the resolution related to the purchase of student transportation vehicles, $220,000 serial bonds. This resolution must be adopted by the affirmative vote of not less than 2/3 of the voting strength of the Board of Education. That's 4 of 5 of you. And we do a roll call vote.
Okay.
So, President Day, oh wait, do we need to do a motion first?
Yeah, good.
Can I have a motion, please?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions or discussions? Okay, roll call away.
Okay, President Daley.
Yes.
Vice President Schwartz.
Yes.
Trustee Clements.
Yes.
Trustee Hammond.
Yes.
And Trustee Parr.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any further communication from the public?
And if there isn't, sorry ladies, but I'm going to embarrass you, but I just want to, I would like to highlight some of the great work that our teachers have done, and with Lisa and Michelle, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess at this point, I was invited to become a judge for their cupcake wars. And it was a very long process that these ladies took the kids through. They had to have both fruit and vegetables in the recipes, and they went through all the different things that were necessary in order to decide on them and to present them and to explain about their nutritional value. And they did a public presentation, and they had visuals, and it was great. And so I just want to highlight the wonderful work you've done. So thank you for having me.
You should do that next time on a Tuesday night, and you can bring the extras to the board meeting. Oh, they were dicing? Oh, okay.
Because you had mentioned that in
The fruit and vegetable combo.
Fruit and vegetable combo of the cupcakes was interesting.
And they were very decorative, and they had themes, and it was a whole process. So
But the new website, will the capability to do video footage and shoot this out there? Do it live?
I don't know about live.
Easy.
Yes. I mean, obviously through the Twitter feed, and it also doesn't have to be through the Twitter feed. The principals can just drop video clips onto the web. Obviously, approved people only can put clips on the on the site.
Cool.
Is that good?
So thank you, ladies.
We didn't talk about graduation at all, so we just, everything's the same, we meet.
I think Linda will send us some
Yes.
sort of
Yeah.
email about that, but typically the ceremony starts at 10:30. She'll tell us to be there at 10, but we don't really have to be there at
It's going to
10.
be a beautiful sunny day
Yes.
and not hot.
Yes.
And robes and stuff have been ordered.
She
Everything.
takes care of all that.
Yeah.
We just show up.
Yep, it's underway. And we are having the walk the morning of rehearsal, graduation rehearsal. So for those of you who were able to see some of the very positive momentum that happened around a school in Texas that has their
Like
kids.
that Margaret sent over. Oh,
Yes.
you're going to do that. That's awesome.
So we are going to do that.
That's where the graduating seniors
They walk
put on
through the
their
halls.
caps and gowns and walk from the kindergarten classrooms through the school
Yep.
all the way up to the 12th grade.
When is that?
That will be the day of graduation rehearsal, the day before. So it's
So
it's
we
going to
won't
be a
there,
celebration.
So it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Can you put it
So we will have that videotaped, and so you'll be able to watch it. So we are doing that this year.
That'll be really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there's 3 of you who have,
Graduating
Yeah.
seniors.
yeah,
Yep.
definitely video.
Yeah.
I'm glad I waited to the end to tell you
Didn't concentrate.
All right, well, I want to go on record as saying I think this is our shortest meeting all year.
Yeah.
So there you have it. May I have a motion for adjournment, please?
Motion?
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.